If generational wealth is important to you, listen up. Not having a properly structured trust could cause your kids to lose everything that you worked hard for. As a matter of fact, 25% of millionaires end up losing majority of their estate to probate court and estate taxes when it could have easily been avoided. So if you want to learn how to avoid unnecessary taxes, how to secure your legacy, and how to pass down your wealth to your children and your children's children, then this episode is for you. And make sure you stay to the end, because I'm going to give you a secret generational wealth strategy that I'm certain you never heard of. All of that, plus more in today's episode. What's up, family? Welcome into another episode of Tax-Free Living, where I teach entrepreneurs just like you how to live tax-free. For those of you all who don't know me, my name is Carter Cofield, and I have a goal of teaching you all not just how to live tax-free, but how to secure your legacy for you and your family. And the reason that I decided to record this episode is because I came across an article that said Chadwick Boseman, famous actor Chadwick Boseman, aka our Black Panther, lost about $1 million of his estate to probate court because he didn't have a properly structured trust when he passed away. So what this means is his family lost out on an extra $1 million that could have been used to support his children and the rest of his family members. And personally, that breaks my heart because I loved him as an actor, and I don't want that to happen to you all. So I've decided to spend the past 5 hours putting together this episode so that you can secure your legacy. Okay, so let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to talk about today is, what is a trust? A trust is a private legal agreement where you're transferring ownership of your assets from your name into the trust. Okay, there are three key players that you need to know about when it comes to a trust. There is the grantor, which is you, the person putting the person putting the assets in the trust. There is the trustee, who is someone that you're going to appoint to actually distribute the assets out of the trust after you pass away. And then there is the beneficiaries, which is going to be whoever you select to receive the assets from the trust. Now that we understand what a trust is, let's talk about what types of trust there are. Now, I'll be honest with you all. There are more trusts out there than ice cream options at Baskin Robbins. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are a lot of trusts, and I don't want to confuse you all with all of the various types of trusts. So today, through today's episode, we're just going to talk about the two main trusts that everyone needs to know about. Okay? And those two types of trust are a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust. Okay? Let's break them down individually, because the difference between them is absolutely critical. Okay? So let's start with a revocable trust. Now, revocable trusts are like yoga pants, right? They're comfortable, they're flexible, and you're able to change it whenever you want to. That's why they call revocable, right? So, a revocable trust, you can change or cancel the trust at any time. Okay? You can change or cancel the trust at any time. The second thing about a revocable trust is you get to maintain control of your assets. And you get to change the beneficiary, you get to change the trust. It allows you, like I said earlier, to be more flexible. Another thing about, a great thing about a revocable living trust is that it allows your assets to avoid probate. So what happens when you pass away, just in case you didn't know, is that your assets will go to probate court. And then the probate court and the probate lawyers will help your family fight over all of your assets. And they gonna let them fight. They gonna let them take their time, because the court is gonna collect fees from your estate and the probate attorneys are gonna collect fees from your estate. So by the time your family's done fighting over assets, 20, 30, 40% of your estate can be gone to fees because you didn't have a trust in place. A revocable living trust allows all of your assets to bypass the probate court experience, right, and go directly to your heirs. Now, another thing about a revocable living trust that you need to know is that a revocable living trust will not protect you from creditors if you get sued for something, right? This limited protection that revocable trust, living trust allows you to have. And a lot of people have tried to put their assets in a trust when they're getting sued to avoid litigation. It has very, very limited protection from creditors. Number two, there is no tax benefits for a revocable living trust, right? A revocable living trust is to protect you from probate court, not to help you save money on taxes. Now that we know a little bit more about revocable living trust, let's talk about a irrevocable trust, right? Now, irrevocable trusts are like Fort Knox, right? That thing is like a safe at a bank. Once you set it up, there is very limited capabilities of you being able to change anything. So when you put your assets into a irrevocable trust, I want you to picture that your assets are locked up in a vault, and you not only no longer can touch them, guess what? You've now given up the ability to control the assets as well. So you can't touch it, you can't control it. On top of that, you no longer get to benefit from the assets either. So if you put a real estate property, a cash flowing real estate property, into your irrevocable trust, you can no longer benefit from the cash flow, right? If you put an investment account into your irrevocable trust, you no longer can benefit from the dividends from those investments. So a key thing that you need to know is that you lose control, you lose ability to change the dynamics of the trust, and you can no longer benefit from the trust. So guys, I need you to think long and hard before you set up an irrevocable living trust, because these things are the closest thing to permanent when it comes to trust strategy. Now, those are some of the cons. The pros, because you gave up the ability to control, because you gave up the ability to benefit, guess what? Irrevocable trusts allow you to protect your assets from creditors. So once you put your assets in an irrevocable living trust, your assets are protected from potential litigation and potential creditors. Another benefit of an irrevocable trust is that they allow you to save on taxes, explicitly estate taxes. So the way our estate tax system works currently in America is, as of 2024, if your estate is above $13,610,000, any money over that is open to getting hit with estate taxes. But once you put the asset inside of your irrevocable trust, it is removed from your estate tax calculation, which will allow you to potentially save on estate taxes. Okay? Now, what this also means is that if you don't yet have an estate valued at $13 million or near $13 million, you probably don't need to set up an irrevocable living trust yet, right? Because we don't want to set this up prematurely if we're not going to be able to actually benefit from it, okay? So now that we talked about both trusts, let's look at a side-by-side comparison, okay? So when it comes to flexibility, with the revocable living trust, you have flexibility. You have the flexibility to change the beneficiaries, to change the trustee, to dissolve it, to set up another one. A revocable trust has flexibility. An irrevocable trust does not have flexibility. You're giving up the rights, you're giving up the ownership, the control, and the benefit. So flexibility, revocable trust wins. Asset protection. Again, a revocable living trust only protects you from your assets going to probate court, right? However, a irrevocable living trust will protect your assets from potential creditors while you're alive. So when it comes to asset protection, irrevocable trust wins. Now, when it comes to tax benefits, again, a revocable living trust has no tax benefits. An irrevocable trust has tax benefits if your estate is over $13 million. So when it comes to tax benefits, the irrevocable trust wins. When it comes to privacy, right, they both are great because a revocable trust is a private document. So your business, your assets will not be in the street. And an irrevocable trust is also a private document. So they both win when it comes to privacy. And then when it comes to control, obviously, A revocable living trust, you keep control. An irrevocable living trust, you do not have control. So with a side-by-side comparison, now you can understand which one is best for you, right? Are you looking for control? Are you looking for flexibility? Are you looking for tax benefits? Are you looking for privacy? Now that you know this, you can now select, do you need a revocable living trust or do you need an irrevocable living trust? Most of you only need a revocable living trust unless, again, your assets are over $13 million or you have some creditor issues, then you might look into having a irrevocable living trust. Now that we understand the difference between the two types of trust, how do you fund the trust? Because just because you set up the trust doesn't mean your assets are inside the trust, right? Just because you set it up, that doesn't mean that you're protected. You actually have to then fund the trust with your assets. So the way you're gonna fund the trust is you're gonna transfer the property with a deed from your name into the trust, right? For vehicles, you're gonna retitle the vehicle from your name to the trust name. For financial accounts, same thing. You're gonna retitle the account from your name to the trust name, right? And you want to make sure that your beneficiaries of the trust are correct, because whoever you put as the beneficiaries, they're gonna be the people receiving the money from the trust. Now, as I told you all at the beginning, I promised I was gonna give y'all a estate planning strategy that's gonna help you secure your generational wealth. And one thing that we recommend our clients do is they set up what's called a pour over will in conjunction with their revocable or irrevocable living trust. And what a pour over will do is once you pass away, any assets that you forgot to put in your trust, the pour over will says, at the time of my death, I want you to pour over all of the assets that are not in my trust into my trust. That way you can guarantee that all of your assets, even if you forgot to put some in while you're alive, they still get put into your trust. Comparing, putting together the pour over will plus the revocable or irrevocable living trust strategy is a phenomenal way for you to secure your assets and for you to secure your legacy. Now, if you have more trust questions or more trust insight, I actually did another video talking specifically about wills versus trust. You can check that video out in the corner below so that you can understand the difference, not only a revocable or irrevocable living trust, you understand the difference between a will and a trust, right? So other than that, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time.